What about that? Now we're talking. All right. How are we doing now? I think we've got it going on. So I'm a little late, 5 minutes late. People moving over. There's somebody. Yay, I did it. Now, is that better? Krista Burton's watching, so we're back in action. All right, sorry about that. I'm learning things. That's my first mistake I've made today. I'm sure I'll make a few more. Look at that. Krista's on there. Haley Larson's watching. This is good. So I've learned something. I got to make sure I don't go to my Facebook page. So I'll keep rambling on for a little bit, and then we'll get started. And some people probably noticed this shirt. Julie Anderson's there. Hey, Jules. Alex and Haley and Josh, I believe, designed this shirt. And you can go online or you can call Alex and figure out how to purchase one. But we are selling them right now. They're wonderful shirts. And it's a great way of showing your Sea Colony pride. Julie Anderson. Oh, thanks, Julie. It's good to see you as well. So we're really excited about these shirts, though. We've already sold about 20 of them in one day. You can go to Sea Colony. Hey, Elisa. You can go to seacolonytennis.net. And hey, Therese. And you can go online, just like you're doing a clinic, actually, on seacolonytennis.net. And there's an enroll button. You hit that. You think I'm funny? I think I'm funny. I amuse myself. So I'm glad you do. So anyway, I want to see, look, there's Josh Smith. Hello and good morning to you as well. Now, before we get started, Jim Hastings is back again, my fellow Australian. Hey, Bob, you got a shirt? Good job, buddy. Get one for your beautiful wife. Be nice to her. Let's see. Just so you guys know, we'll do this every Saturday at 11. We'll have different topics. From a lot of questions last week, we'll have kind of a new theme this week. Make sure that you check us out on the YouTube channel for Sea Colony Tennis and Fitness. Fitness has a lot of great videos on working out. So with Sean, Mike, they're doing some Zumba on Zoom. And I think they might even be doing some yoga. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on. For us, you can check out tennis on the Sea Colony Tennis and Fitness YouTube. Facebook, though, is a good place to start because it'll hook you up. You can link over to YouTube. But on Mondays, I do a fitness video. And on Tuesday, either Alex or Josh or I do a trick. I think Alex is probably the best at doing tricks. Wednesdays, we do a technique video. Last week, Alex did one-handed backhands. Bobby Elliott. What do you do when your partner keeps making jokes between points? Ignore them? Get a better partner? I'm not sure. On Wednesdays, this Wednesday, I did a two-handed backhand for this coming Wednesday. Thursday, Alex does doubles tips. Friday, Josh came up with a fireside chat with Josh, and he does singles. Freeman's Fitness Center. Guys, thanks for being supportive. They're doing a lot of great stuff, so check them out on the YouTube channel. And then on Saturdays we do this, and then Sundays is kind of a day of rest, but we do have a good trivia question this Sunday. It has to do with what Krista does a whole lot of. You see her doing this a lot, so look at that and see if you can answer that question. All right, Allison Lee Lewis, who I used to teach at Wintergreen, it's her birthday today. I haven't seen her come on yet, but it's her birthday, and she's a great person. So when I see her name again, hopefully I will see it quickly enough, or Krista can remind me. Krista I'm getting to be big time. You know, I've got my hair done and my makeup done, and Krista is in the background running things, so she's the big producer. There's Peggy Quillen Kent, also known as Buttercup. Hello, Alex. So anyway, that's the schedule moving forward. What I wanted to start with this week was do a little bit of a review of last week, and two major topics kept coming up. And one of them was routines, and the other one was this basic concept of redefining success. So I wanted to go over those two things. Let's start with redefining success. So success is, controlling what you can control. And clearly, it's a life lesson, because right now there's a lot of things that are out of our control. You do have control of your attitude, and that's probably the greatest lesson we could all learn is, you can control your own attitude. No one is forcing you to think a certain way. No one's forcing you to feel bad or anything. So it's a tough one. Hey, Stace, how's it going? Now, Stacy Margolin Potter, I used to coach with her out in California with my first coaching gig. She was the women's tennis coach for Pomona Pitzer, and I was the men's tennis coach. And if you don't know Stacy, she was won NCAAs for University of Southern California as a freshman and reached a career world ranking of 18 in the world. She is a hell of a good tennis player, and is another little lefty. As you guys all know, I call people little lefty. So Cindy Keegan there, how's it going? So we're going to go through a little bit of redefining success and also routines. So let's get started with that. Redefining success, I think one of the great things I like about that quadrant that we talked about last week. So imagine the 4 window panes, and then one quadrant or window pane was basically, you choose the right shot, and then you actually hit it in, and you do the right thing, and you either win the point or they get, lucky, or they play great and they dig it out, and, what do you do? But you chose the right shot, you executed it fine. You don't necessarily win the point every time, but everything's good. That's a great place to be. You can choose the right shot and just miss it. So you just flub the shot, as Tom Bray told me. Yeah, you just flub it. So, we are always trying to choose the right thing, make the right choices. So those 2 quadrants are awesome. You can choose the wrong shot and actually hit it in. As the example we used last week is, say you choose the wrong shot and you actually win the point and you hit a winner. So maybe you go down the line when you shouldn't go down the line. It's the wrong shot, low percentage, and you still win the point. And unfortunately, now you're getting positive reinforcement for doing the wrong thing. So that's a tough one. And this happens a lot with kids that I teach, and Alex and Josh teach. And I'm sure a whole lot of us have been around kids that make the wrong choice, and then they actually get rewarded for it. We also do the same thing. It's not like we're immune to that. Yes, Bob, you can also choose the wrong partner. Yes, that is possible. Although you obviously chose the right partner. I, on the other hand, that's a whole other issue. Then the quadrant you're wanting to stay out of, obviously, is choosing the wrong shot and then actually missing it as well. So this is a good way of redefining success, and it's something you actually have control over. So one of the things we talk about in all our tennis camps is control what you can control. Be in the right spot. You can be in the right spot. You can choose the right shot, and you can have a good attitude, and you can run for every ball. So maybe another for doubles players is communicating effectively with their partner. To review routines, the routines we use, there's many routines. There's between points, changeovers, before matches, before practice, after matches, after practice. It goes on. And the one that we're all most familiar with, of course, are routines between points. So as you know, you get about 25 seconds between points, and you're going to go through 4 steps. And what I'd like y'all to do, today I'm going to give you some homework assignments at the end, a couple different ones, but one of them will be go ahead and write down your routine. And so the first step is to release. So we call it the 4 R's. You release the last point. And there's different ways of releasing the last point, but primarily you're releasing this point emotionally. You got to get rid of it so you can actually think logically about the next couple steps, which are more strategically oriented. So the first step is release. Second is you review the last point. You start asking yourself, how'd you win the point? How'd you lose the point? little bit easier, I think, to do this in doubles than in singles. The third step would be you re-strategize. So once you review the last point, you can have a better idea of maybe what you want to do for the upcoming point, or you just stick with what you've been doing. And then the fourth step is the ritual stage, and that's where you see, Sharapova is a real good example, and Nadal is a good example, and you literally see them set up, bounce the ball, the whole bit. Sharapova turned around, Nadal's doing, the old, I won't say it, and then they set up and they serve. So the first step is to release the last point, and you need to develop a tool on how you can release that last point. So my favorite is to go to the towel. I mentioned that last week. I mentioned that the Clemson coach taught his players to go to the fence. In doubles, you might high five. Right now, if you were able to play doubles, and one of the things we'll probably do in Sea Colony when we're able to play doubles again is have people extend their racket towards each other and just touch the rackets, and that'll keep them actually more than 6 feet away from each other. So they can still kind of touch, they can still do something like that to bring themselves together. The third step, so then that first step is you've done a variety of ways of releasing and doubles touching. Then you review the last point, then you re-strategize, and then you serve. This works great for changeovers. It also works great in between points. So that's a little bit of a review from last week. One of the things I wanted to do now is go over some of the questions from last week. And when I reviewed the comment section, I saw that another theme is starting to develop. And Teresa asked me this question. And this kind of summarizes a lot of the questions that came up from, Kendall, Max, Bob Linnett, Tom Schneider, I can't ever say her name, Pam Kohut, Cindy Keegan, a variety of people kind of centered their questions around this topic of how to play to win as opposed to playing not to lose. And this is a really good one because it comes up for all of us. Probably a good example is when I first got to UVA back in 1994, 95 season. I had a meeting with the guys on the team, and we started talking about what we wanted to accomplish. And one of the things we wanted to accomplish, before I asked them any questions, in my head, I'm like, well, clearly we want to win conference, And so I'm asking them what their goals are, and hey, Rich, how's it going? Asked them what their goals were, and almost to the T or to the letter, we go around the group, and they want to finish better than they did last year, and they decided that 4th or 5th was their goal. And I was kind of taken aback because 4th or 5th is pretty average, and to me that's kind of playing not to lose. And I was a little taken aback, and I let them know that let's have something a little bit more exciting. 4th or 5th is pretty boring. And I thought that was a good example right off the bat of gosh, we're playing not to lose, not to embarrass ourselves. It's pretty tough. Now, more along the, what I expected was, hey, let's win conference. It's a little bit more exciting. So I started thinking about Teresa's question more and more, and I started thinking about it from, 2 primary perspectives. One was strategical, and the other was kind of more kind of how you felt. So I started thinking strategically, what happens to me at least when I start playing not to lose, I start playing actually too high percentage. I will never change the direction of the ball, for example, and I'll just keep going back from where it came. I might hit the ball, firmly and aggressively, but I always go at the tee, for my volley winner. I always go there. I won't angle anything off, something like that. Or I'll see in a tiebreaker, someone just starts rallying back and forth. They stop going to the net. So strategically, you see people get really passive. A good example would be, and you see this even at the professional level, someone's serving for the match, and they get broken, and they play a little bit tentative, and the receiver gets a little bit more aggressive, and so the combination of someone getting tentative with someone getting aggressive is just a recipe for disaster. let's see. The energy wise, we can also feel a big difference between low energy versus high energy. So I'll watch a match. I'll watch some people playing in our camps. Mikey Yoder, how you doing? So Mike, by the way, has been tennis tournament director of the year. He's been referee of the year. So he's always helping us out with our tournaments. He runs one of our USTA national tournaments for juniors. He helps referee and be linesperson for our pro tournament. Sarah Gedney. Oh my goodness. Hey Sarah, how's it going? What's Stacy saying? Jimmy Arias said this about success. Success is loving who you are, loving what you do, and loving how you do it. I like it. So back to this concept of playing to. Hey Tom, playing not to lose. I think we all have the Bobby Elliott saying hi to Mike. We all have gone through this. So I think what you want to do, the solution is first to recognize, right? So it's kind of like counseling or psychology 101. You've got to recognize that this is happening. So you've got to recognize that you're starting to get tentative, that you're starting to get a little bit passive. So that's the first thing. And I think what you want to do is, and I'm real big on this, is you want to plan for every single possible scenario you can think of, and then how are you going to handle it? So what are you going to do if you're up 40-30? How are you going to play the point strategically? What are you going to do if you're up in a tiebreaker 9-5 or you're down 5-7? So how are you going to handle this? I've written down, we have a little camp booklet that we give people, and we have just an infinite amount of situations you can be in. And I think what you want to do for yourself, and this is a homework assignment I want to give you guys at the end, is that at the end of today, is I want you to go ahead and write down how you're going to play when you're up 40-30. How are you going to play when you're down 30-40? How are you going to play when you have a set point? So strategically, what are you going to do? Are you going to be serving and volleying? Are you going to stay back and push? You just can hit right down the middle. What is your game plan? So when you get in these situations, you have something to go to. So you can control how you're going to react. And so it's back to this big life lesson. You can control how you're going to handle a situation. It doesn't mean hey Terry, it doesn't mean you'll be successful, but you're taking control of what you actually can control. Terry Underkoffler. He's the boys tennis coach at Worcester Prep. And I imagine, he's seen this a lot where his players will get tentative when they get ahead, or they'll get too aggressive. The typical thing is people get tentative when they're ahead. That's the typical thing. The energy level is also a big one. I see people when they get a little too pumped up sometimes, and then they're playing not to lose, but they're also taking huge risks, and they don't want to play anymore. They don't want to play the points. They get too risky. I've got some notes here. I think the biggest thing we see is when people get ahead, they get tentative. And the person who is behind finally relaxes. They've kind of got nothing to lose, and they start getting a little bit more aggressive. So that's why I'm back to, planning for every single situation you can possibly think of. And, so say I'm playing with my friend Bob. Okay, I'm playing with my friend Bob, and we're ahead 40-30 on my serve. Well, this is a prime opportunity for me to serve down the tee and have Bob poach. So we already know that we're going to do this on a big point. Bob's got a good backhand volley. I'm pretty accurate with my serve. It's a good plan for us. On the return side, a good play for Bob and I is when we're up 30 or 50, I'll say 15-40, and Bob's returning serve, and he gets a second serve. I'm poaching off his return. I'm going. Now, Bob and I have already called the play, so he knows that as soon as that ball hits the ground the other side, I'm cutting over, I'm going on a diagonal, and I'm looking for it. If they do go behind me, Bob's already crossed, we should be okay, because Bob is swift of foot, aren't you, Bob? Just like your son Sean. My point is, plan for all these things. There's some good books out there. We mentioned Brad Gilbert's book. He talks about the happy camper and the wounded bear, so you can go review that book. But Winning Ugly is a real good one. It's a fun book to read. I'd highly recommend that. On the subject of books, Tom Beret and I were talking last week about a book called Man's Search for Meaning, and it's all about free will, and it's very apropos for today's world. You do have a choice in how you're going to react to everything. The first kind of Bob says swift is not the term he'd use. How about you're smart and know when to cover for me? But Man's Search for Meaning is a great book. Free will is a great topic in that book, how you respond to situations. Tom Pollins reminded me of kind of the first sports psych book, which is Tim Galway's book. I'm blanking on the name, but Inner Game of Tennis, of course. He also wrote Inner Game of Golf, Inner Game of Skiing. Probably Inner Game of Golf is a little bit better in the sense that I think Galway became a better writer, actually. And I think his concepts are a little bit more clear. But Inner Game of Tennis is kind of like the first first Western version of sports psychology. So Brad Gilbert's book, Winning Ugly, Inner Game of Tennis, Man's Search for Meaning, those are all real good ones. There's also a good book out there called Zen and the Art of Archery, not the art of motorcycle maintenance, the art of archery. In this book, you can literally put the word tennis in for the word archery. There's some good books. I had a mentor in graduate school, a guy named Bob Rotella at University of Virginia. He's kind of the big sports psych guy for golf, and he's written a whole lot of books. One of them is called Golf is Not a Game of Perfect, which if you ever thought you're perfect, I mentioned that last week, you're not. You got to get really used to it. I mean, baseball is incredible. Tom Pollins, great book. Which one? Man's Search for Meaning or Not a Game of Perfect? Which book are you talking about? Hey, Joan. Joan, nice to see you. Good picture. So those are some really good books. We all have some free time right now to watch. The other thing, back to this concept of playing not to lose or playing to win. Julie, it's too long. It's been too long without playing. Yeah. Oh, Tom, you do know that. Good book. So if you have any other good books you want to share with us, Tom, go ahead, because you mentioned Galway's book last week, and you've read that one as well. So pretty good stuff. But another concept that goes along with not to lose and playing to win is start paying attention to your self-talk. This is a whole topic. We could probably talk about it for an hour, but I want to touch on it this week. And, what you want to start doing, and you could do it right now in the comment section, is start writing down a couple of things you say to yourself when you're not playing well or when things aren't going well. So I'll tell you a couple things I've heard people say. I would never say anything like this, but I would never go, God, I'm so bad at tennis. I suck. I shouldn't even go home. I should go home. So start putting a few of those into the comment section. I'm getting better at reading people's comments as we go along. The other thing is paying attention to your self-talk. Pay attention to your body language. When people start playing not to lose, their body language starts to get a little bit, how can I say it, heavier. Well, you like my hair, Rich? Rich, you like everybody's hair. You have no hair. So, sorry, should not say that to my tennis committee chair. But thank you. So pay attention to your body language. Pay attention to your self-talk. So you'll see people's body language really, really change. And I used to tell this to people watching our college tennis matches that without the scorecards, you would know that of the 6 singles matches, you'd probably be right on 5 of the 6 of who was winning these matches, just by their body language. Because, you guys know, I mean, y'all are, Cindy says, I'm going to let my partner down if I keep playing like crapola. And Julie says, I did it again. What the? And then she has the old ellipsis things. Great book about how building. Oh, that's a good one, Josh. What Drives Winning by Brett Ledbetter. The self-talk is critical, the body language. So you'll literally see if you watch a college tennis match, you pretty much can tell who's winning and losing all these matches just through their body language. And as y'all know, body language is 90% communication, and the other 10% is more verbal. So your tone of voice is giving you away. You can say to your partner, "Oh, nice shot," and you can also tell your partner, "Nice shot." So it's a completely different way of communicating, and you've used the same words. Therese, what's the best way to communicate with your partner who's feeling down and losing faith in winning? Oh, that's a great one. So first of all, you got to know how to communicate with your partner. I'm assuming you and Roy can really communicate well on the court, and off the court. But first of all, you need to really know how to communicate with your partner. I hear some people, they say, oh, my partner doesn't want to hear anything from me. Well, I'm thinking about this one couple I used to teach mixed doubles to. So they, both 4-0 players, they came to me because, Teresa, you thought that was funny? Yeah, I actually did too. So they came to me because they weren't having any fun playing doubles. And so I asked them, why do you want to talk to me? And they said, well, we thought you could help us. And I'm like, oh, cool. Toughness by Jay Billis, another good one. Good one. So I started off, well, why'd y'all start playing tennis to begin with? And they said, well, it was something we could do together. And I said, oh, so it was, something y'all could do. You could go hit together and get exercise. They loved it. And so they got better and better. So now they've played for 25 years, both very good athletes, now kind of 4-0, maybe a little better than 4-0 level players. And they had figured out that if they spoke to each other during a match, they were just going to screw everything up because they had lost how to communicate with people. I shouldn't say people, with each other. So anything they said was being misconstrued. So a typical example, and I asked them, well, tell me, what are the kind of things you're telling your partner? And classic, he was saying, hey, honey, you really need to bend your knees on that. So we'll just give her an artificial name. We'll say, hey, Julie, you need to bend your knees. So, she didn't like that. She was like, don't tell me how to play. Or she would tell him, gosh, you keep hitting to the guy, And so now their tone of voice and what they're saying to each other is being misconstrued. I mean, he was trying to help her, right? Bend your knees, trying to be helpful, but that's not how she was taking it. And she's telling him, oh, yeah, you got to hit the different shot. So we came back to, well, why'd y'all start playing tennis to begin with? And they were like, it's fun. So I said, okay, well, if it's fun, so that's the first thing. So we talked some more, and we came, that was yours. Yeah, don't say that. This is what we did. They got to say one of 3 things. They each got to say, nice shot to the other person. That was one thing they got to say. Buenos dias, Vid Lopez. Karina is there. Cool. Karina, how's it going? So they could say, nice shot. They could say, let's get the next one. So anything kind of centered around taking them out of the past or taking them out of the future and putting them plop down right in the middle. So anything that could get them into the present. So something like, let's get the next one. This point, here we go. And anything about strategy. So they really had a choice on 3 things they got to say. They could talk about strategy. So as an example, tell your partner where you're going to hit your return before your opponent serves. That goes contrary to what a lot of people believe, but I say this a lot to people, trust me. So decide where you're going to return your shot before your opponent serves. So back to using my friend Bob as an example, I'm going to tell him that I'm going at the net person. If I tell him I'm taking my return at the net person, he's a little bit more prepared because you know what they're going to do. They're going to take their volley right at him. So if I don't tell him, he's going to look at me and he's going to like, hey, what's going on? So anything about strategy on the other side of the coin is, where I'm trying to serve. Doesn't mean my serve's going to go there, but I'm relatively accurate. It's going to go within 6 feet. I wish I was more accurate, but I'm trying to tell him where I'm going to serve. So anything about strategy. In between points, you might talk about, hey, let's keep lobbing that person. So once the point's over, they get to say, hey, let's get the next one, and then we go through our individual routines. Joan Cooper, see examples of self-talk before that. I lost it. Maybe Krista can help me. So just so y'all know, the comments kind of scroll through on the Facebook Live, and then they disappear. And being the technological scaredy cat right now, I'm scared to touch the phone and try to scroll up and back. So I'll try to learn that. Tom Pollins, great advice. Thank you, Tom. Stay in the present. Easier said than done. So anything about keeping people in the present, telling people nice shot. So something like, good shot. Let's get the next one, and then talk about strategy. So those are the 3 things that you can tell your partner. This gets amplified, exaggerated. I don't know how to emphasize this even more, but with husbands, wives, or partners, everybody knows each other so well that you really, really need to pay attention to your body language. So to use this couple as an example, he would miss a shot. She'd kind of, you'd watch her body language kind of go like this. He would look. Krista, examples of positive self-talk before those critical. Thank you, Krista. See, it's great to have Krista around. She helps me out. Y'all know how important Krista is. Krista, should I say how great you are again? So anyway, the body language. So he would miss an easy shot. He would look at her, and right as he looked at her, or right as she had just shrugged her shoulders or just lost it like that, and now he's like, oh, she's disappointed. So Krista is the best. Yes, Therese. How is Roy doing today, Therese? So you really got to pay attention to your body language. You really got to pay attention to your tone of voice. If body language is 90% of it, then hey, if communication is the root of 90% of our problems, then hey, let's make that the focus. With the way we're living right now, socially distant from each other, we're used to having all 4 of us. So the 4 full-time people at the tennis shop, we have got Krista, Alex, Josh, and myself. Well, now we never get to come together. So what we're doing now is we're meeting, good old Zoom, we're meeting remotely now a few times a week to make sure the communication breakdown, because at first it was, it's just we're learning stuff. So we're, thank you, miss seeing, oh, Krista. Krista misses everybody. It's going to be a blast when we all get together again. And so hopefully that will help happen soon. So the point is the old communication. If communication is primarily the issue, make that the priority. And then you've got to figure out how you're going to do it. We're back to, I hate to say it, but we're back to routines. So, it all, during matches, everything funnels back to your routine. So, you get more and more specific with your routines. You got to, hey, Nikki, how's your forehand? So I guess we don't know yet right now. So you can always go check out my, God, I'm plugging myself. Hey, Connie, you can always go check out my video on forehands from a couple weeks ago. So you can get it through YouTube or hey, Laura, how you doing? Laura's son, Logan, used to play a bunch of tennis in our Sea Colony Tennis Junior program. So, He was fast. That kid was fast. So anyway, he used to battle my daughter. It's pretty much fun. Um, so all this keeps coming back to routines because during a match, you've got your time between points. Who knows this? I think, hey, Lorraine, is Rob with you or is he working big time? The routines, everything comes back to that. So what you really want to do is start getting more and more specific. So if it's doubles, your routine is going to change a little bit more than it is in singles. So you could get a little bit more specific on how you're going to communicate with your partner. Now, Pam, I don't know if she's on today. I haven't seen her name, but Pam Cahoot's like a 4-5 player. She lives in Annapolis. Really, really good player. Worked on her game a ton. I first met her, 15 years ago at Wintergreen, and now she'll come and play with us at Sea Colony, and she asked me the question the other day of, how do I communicate with a player who has different strategies or a different mindset strategically than she does? And now we're back to communicating. So we might have to figure out how best to communicate with that particular person. So write in the comments right now a little bit about, we mentioned a little bit kind of the things you say to yourself when things aren't going well. Say a few things on what you're saying when things are going well, because those are the kind of things we want to emphasize. And so if it's singles and you're playing really well, tell me a few things that you say to yourself. So here we go. I'll say that one to myself. When things are going well, I'll notice in singles, I'll kind of slap my thigh to remind myself to keep going, to keep battling. I see that Rob says he misses everyone, but Lorraine, if he really missed everybody, he'd be on this. What other kind of questions do we have? Because I've been rambling on, and I'd like to field a big grin. I'd like to field a couple of questions because we're starting to run out of time. Al says, Al, nice to see you, buddy. If we were ahead, say, don't let up. Yeah. I would tell the kids when I was coaching, I'd keep reminding them to keep fighting, and you would hear them say that to themselves. Vulcan, how's it going? Tell Sharon hi. How's Skip? Tell the Kings, tell Skip and Terry hi for me, okay? They Vulcan and Sharon, they live in Easton. They come over to Sea Colony and play with us every once in a while, so it's always good to see them as well. I'm looking at some of my notes. He's right next to me on his elliptical. Oh, you should be proud of him. That's good. Alex, thank you. Sophia would like to know how to get more match tough. Great question, Sophia. I think, it comes back to practice. In practice, you need to play. I'm a big proponent of playing a ton of matches in practice and doing a lot of practice matches, not just hitting, not playing backcourt games. I think it's huge that you make the serve part of it and do as many competitive things as you can. And putting yourself, and I know Alex has done this with you, Nikki, how do you help your partner when and Al misses our noon meetings. How do you help your partner when they get down? So let's stay on with Sophie's questions. So how do you get mentally match tough using that in practice? Well, there's a variety of ways. So one is I would recommend a lot of competitive games, a lot of games where you're playing points with serving. A lot of people will play backcourt games. They'll play half-court games. They'll do one up, one back. And those are all valuable, but I think you really need to put the serve and the return into things because, as Alex has communicated to you, rallies are usually done after 4 shots. Rich says, when playing competitive tennis and your opponent hits an amazing shot, do you acknowledge it? I think it depends upon the person. Sometimes I'll say good shot. Usually what I always did, hey, Zach, I never said a word. But this will be good because I love having all these questions. So next week we can go into detail more with them. Playing more competitive matches. I think it's really, really important to practice your routines. a lot of people don't practice the routines. It's just like anything else. I mean, you practice learning a topspin forehand, you practice your serve, you practice the slice backhand, like how I do that, the slice backhand. You practice your volleys. You need to practice your mental toughness. You need to practice your self-talk. You need to practice your routines. You need to practice your body language. You really need to stay focused on all aspects of your game. You can't just go out there and work on technique. I know a lot of players who don't look that great, but they're super mentally tough. And I promise you that they, in practice, have decided that today is a day in practice that I'm going to win a practice match. Sometimes you have to redefine success and work on an aspect of your game and decide, hey, I'm going to learn a slice backhand and I'm going to play a competitive match, but I'm going to only hit slice backhands today. Or I need to really learn how to volley better, so I'm going to serve and volley, and this is going to make my volleys better, but I'm going to do it in a competitive. Hey, Sasha. Amazing. Sasha, how's KK? Karina wants to know how to maintain her game she's learned when not able to play right now. Great question. We're going to address that next week because I've had that question come up a couple of times in private. So I think we really want to address that. So we'll remember that one. We have about 10 minutes to go. So I want to start. Alex, did that answer the question? Or do you want me to go into a little bit more detail? Is there anything more specific you want me to go over with that? And I'll wait for a little bit. Alex, you're still there. If you're not still there, I don't blame you, Alex. You've heard me talk about this a million times. So there's a few things I wanted to go over before we. I bought a fill and drill. Zach, I have no idea what that means. I bought a fill and drill. Alex, yes, that did get it? Okay, thanks. If you want me to go into more detail, just tell me. All good. See, I can read. This is one of my biggest strengths is I can actually read 4 different posts all at the same time in the comment section. So let's wrap it up here. Last week we talked about the routines. We talked about redefining success. This week we talked more about how to play not to win, how to play not to lose, sorry, and then how to play to win, a little bit of the differences, energy wise, strategically wise. I think the big thing is making sure you plan for how you're going to handle it before it happens. So when you're starting to and paying attention to your energy level, paying attention to your body language, paying attention to your self-talk. So for kind of like a homework assignment, hey, Tom Beret, feeling drill is attended. Thanks, Zach. So what I'd like you to do, just as a homework assignment, you don't need to share it with everybody. You can if you want. I'd like to see people, start to pay attention or write down specifically what the routine is and get as specific as you want. And then maybe if there's a difference between singles and doubles for you. And then how do you communicate? Start thinking about how you communicate with different partners because that's coming up a little bit. And does it change depending upon, is it your husband or wife, or does it change if you're playing with a peer? Does it change with someone you really don't know and it's a USTA league match? And this is the kind of stuff that you've got to really pay attention to and be more mindful of. Tony, wow, that's awesome. Wow. Haley. We should all thank Haley, too, because she's been the driving force behind all our social media posts. What is she saying? What are some resources we can use to stay fit while we're at home? Any videos, maybe? Well, Haley, I think you're helping me plug C. Conley Tennis and Fitness on YouTube. They've got a ton of stuff. So, Tom, I'm a little disappointed that you're late. So, cheers. No, that's okay. I didn't take it too personally. Let's see. So going to the fitness center, the YouTube page for tennis and fitness is really, really good. Mike Pitts is doing some great stuff there. So is Sean Lewis. Jennifer's got them doing a whole bunch of different posts for fitness and different workouts. I know, I can't remember if it was Sean or Mike, but they did a really good ab workout. And I think Sean might have done a medicine ball workout, but super, super good stuff and really pretty darn efficient. Let's see. Krista, you want to say anything before we wrap this up? Any questions that we can address in our last couple of minutes here? Now I see little thumbs up things. Those are kind of cool. I'm assuming those are likes. There's another little thumbs up. All right, so everybody, I'd like to thank you guys for coming and joining me. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Make sure that you check all the posts out that we do. Every day we drop one, probably at approximately 11 on Facebook. And so, you'll do the fitness, and you'll see technique, trick shots. Tomorrow is a trivia question, and once again, it's something that it revolves around something that Krista does a whole lot of, and it's related to that. And I'm glad y'all came, and this is a lot of fun for me. Pass the word on to all your friends. I'd love to see y'all keep participating, and the more questions, the better. And Julie, thank you. Thanks for coming. And guys, I will see y'all soon, and be safe, and take charge of what you can control. All right? Bye-bye, and I'll see y'all at the courts. Take care.